Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boys PD and Cal. Say what's up, gents.
What up?
Today
Ready to
is
rock.
all right. Today is a comic book hero episode. We are talking about the state of the union of comics. Cal, can you please enlighten us?
Well, every so often I have to do this State of the Union. This is not just about comic book quality. This is also about the comic book market, such as that may be, in terms of where sales are at, and are comic books still viable as a part of the collectibles market? There are three tiers to the collectibles market. Comics are on the lower tier of that three tier, but recently they have, definitely shown some signs and have attracted some outside interest. Unfortunately, you still have some of the, for lack of a better term, let's call it the old guard, who wants things the way that they used to be. And by that, I mean they want books to be worth 75 cents again. So that's where we are right now. We had, I believe, around 2018, sales were good, but then we had something called COVID. Okay, and that jump started a whole bunch of prices because people had cash. They had the cash, and that's one of the things I've learned with comics. If the guys have the money, hey, they'll buy the books because this is something that they wanted for a period of time. Most of the time, you only hear the belly aching and sour grapes when they don't have it. But what goes up has to come back down, and this year we would like to call it the Great 2022 Sell-Off. Guys are selling off books like these things. They got to get rid of this stuff. They can't be the last idiot in the room with it. And so that's where we pretty much stand. Are comic books still viable? Has the bottom dropped out? Are you stuck with a whole bunch of stuff that you're never going to be able to use? Well, you're tuned into the Spinner Rack. The comic book hero is going to give you the bill.
So give us the lowdown.
That was a pause in case you guys had anything to say about what I just said before I go any further.
None whatsoever.
No.
It's called being respectful.
well, stop. No, keep going.
Well, for me, the obvious answer is no. I don't sell just comics. I also sell comic-related stuff like omnibuses, trade paperbacks, and the prices on those things and the movement on those have slowed down. So I'm still selling. I still sell certain omnibuses for up to $300, if not $700. I sell certain trades, $50, $100. And mind you, I always try to hit the collectors. So I'm always trying to look for the rares, hardest to find stuff. And then when I turn it over, it's not that big of a deal for me to make a profit on it. Whereas a lot of guys may chase what is it? May do the speculation market, which you can definitely get burned on. I've gotten burned myself on a couple of books, but it's hard not to speculate. But overall, no. If you look at a book like Vengeance #1, CGC 9.8, I think the high point in that book was going for maybe $1,000, but it was a speculative book, and it was all leading up to her appearance in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Once she makes the appearance, of course, that price is going to go down unless, that character just like landed with, stuck the landing in such a manner that people are like, yeah, we want more of this character. But pretty much everybody who wants the book has it, and they get to sit on it. The reason why the prices go down, not because of the buyers, the interest is still there, it's because of the sellers. They didn't get the money they were looking for, and they're like, okay, great, they slash prices. And when these guys slash prices, this is like a shop right hand deal. We're talking 50%, 60%, just to get their money back at the end of the day because they don't want it sitting around, or they have a whole bunch of volume and they're trying to move stuff. But right now, this will be the third time I've seen this happen, where the guys moan about it. Oh, market is down, this, that, and the other. Yeah, but you keep slashing your prices. If you guys hold firm to your prices, that's pretty much you will get it. But most of the time, the guys act like they need the money today, and no later than tomorrow. So that's what you have right there. You got guys. I mean, I bought a ton of stuff at great prices this year, and I'm going to make good money on it. The only thing is, I'll make money on it next year. A lot of guys are just trying to get out, and you also had a good amount of guys who got into this because during the whole COVID period, we were making money hand over fist, not realizing that these type of things ebb and flow. And now when you're on the app, they're like, yeah, I can't move this stuff. I can't sell it. Time for me to get out. Let me slash this price as low as I got to in order to get rid of it. And that'll be the end of it. First appearance of Kang is a key book. The fact that it may be going down a couple $100 from where it was doesn't change the fact that it's a key book. So if you decide to sell it because you didn't necessarily want it, or you don't think you're going to get the money, or you're following the doom and gloom of whatever YouTube show you're watching that loves to get views that way, yeah, you'll let go of it. Then you'll be reminded in the near future that this is still a key book. First appearance of Kang, first 10 issues of Avengers, the first series, those are not books to treat lightly. And so that lesson gets learned at the end of the day. But for anybody following, especially if you're going with the whole doom and gloom as the market is down, no, it's down, especially on a lot of the speculative books. But if it's a key book, and by key book, I'm talking like something like First Appearance of Kang, or even something from one of the modern HPs, those things aren't going anywhere. They may go down somewhat, but they always rebound because the people who end up buying them while they're cheaper tend to be sellers, and they are not going to sell it for less than what they bought it. They're going to take it, they'll sit on it for a little bit, if then, and then they'll start putting the price back up. So, as much as I would love to call it a buyer's market right now, it's really the seller's market. These guys are lowering their prices, dropping stuff, and for the most part, they'll sell the collectors here and there. But the most of the guys who are going to buy it are going to be sellers who are going to hold on it and then just raise the price.
Interesting.
So wait a second. And so people are being iffy about a Kang first appearance when there's going to be Ant-Man that's happening. There's going to be some heavy traction, and then you have the Kang Dynasty. I mean, I think Rob Liefeld was talking about that. It's like, why would you get rid of your Captain America's first appearance of John Walker when you see them talking about doing the Cap and what's the name's thing, and then once it happens again, you're just like, oh, I had that book. It's people are actually iffy on these things right now. On books that looks like they're gonna hit. They're gonna hit once the movie comes out.
Well, it's cyclical for the comic market, but the whole idea is everybody loves. Do you remember that company Enron?
Yeah.
And there were people who had like $800,000 worth of Enron stock, and you ask them, well, hey, why didn't you sell it? Why did you sell the stock? And he's going, because it kept going up and it kept going up and it kept going up. And then eventually went down. That's where comic book guys are. At one point, everything's going up, it's going up, it's going up. Oh, great. And then when it goes down, they think, oh, no, there's an ebb and flow to the whole thing. And you have to remember that, hey, if you got something and you're doing it by speculation, yeah, you want to get rid of that book if it's strictly for speculation and take your money on it. But if the speculation is connected to a show that it's not coming out for like another 2 years, then you got plenty of time to move this book. And if the show's a hit, if people actually like the character, then you're going to have some more stuff. Then it's going to actually have a lot longer legs at the end of the day. So what Liefeld was saying is correct. Why would you want to throw it under now? But a lot of these guys just looking like, oh, it's all trash. All the spec stuff isn't going to happen. Look at these TV shows that Marvel's putting out. They're terrible. I just got to get rid of it now. Get what money I can.
So, I mean, have you seen any kind of traction? Like, say, the Marvels, that movie is going to happen, regretfully taking from the Captain Marvel family. Have you seen any big thing on the Ms. Marvel comic or the Monica Rambeau first appearance? Anything happening with that since those two characters are going to appear with Carol Danvers?
Monica Rambeau is a solid book, period.
Okay.
And that's a solid book. That's just been a solid book, period. So that's fine. Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, that's different because she got to debut in her own show and the show didn't necessarily hit. And because the show doesn't hit, you guys are like, oh, this is trash. I got to get rid of it. So, because it was tied to that particular appearance, yeah, that book definitely took a hit in terms of value. However, what a lot of people don't realize, or they seem to forget, is that she's going to make another appearance. And she'll probably make another appearance. And after that, she'll probably make another appearance. And that's how you develop a following and some fan base and for people to like you. And then later on, it becomes, once she's appeared 5 or 6 times, or she's made it from TV to the actual movie, where you're going to get an even greater viewing at the end of the day. Oh, Now people have a difference. Now people will have a difference, and that book is also going to be on people's radar once more. Same thing with America Chavez. First appearance, again, her first appearance was Vengeance #1. She's in the film. Film's done, no problem. And I think, and again, high point was like 1,000. Might be going for 400 or less right now. They're gonna bring her back. You're gonna see this character a few times. They're not getting rid of her. She's not canceled or anything of that nature. Why would you dump it? They're going to put some money and some push behind these characters. Why are you going to jump this particular book? Because the people who you were selling to have decided they don't want it anymore. It would be great if this was the way the movies used to work. When it came out, it was one and done, and you had to make your money, or that was the end of it. This character is going to see multiple shots. You're going to have a few attempts at the brass ring. There's no reason to get off the ride this early.
There was another thing that Mr. Terrific. Is any motion on him since they did the post on IG on James Gunn IG? Is anything happening with him? Any numbers on that?
Well, yeah, that picked up. But
okay,
man, I was on Mr. Terrific before anybody else was. I had a graded 9.8. Book was signed by cover artist Mandrake. So I had already done that a few times. That book was solid even before there was any sort of announcement or speculation on it.
cool.
I mean, the numbers were different. I'm pretty certain I would get a lot more for it today as a 9.8 signed as opposed to what I got for it back then. But that's just a solid book. A lot of them are just solid books, and you're not getting, you might have been getting $1,000 for it before. Okay, now you're getting $750, so you're getting $700, and that sends these guys into a panic because you don't know what they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
They might have paid $500, thinking, okay, it's going for $1,000, and then 2 weeks later it's going for $700, and you're like, oh man, I better get this money before the bottom totally drops out. It depends on where you are, in terms of the seller. If you can wait for your money, you'll always do better. If you need your money tomorrow, this is the wrong business to be in.
So, oh man, now, this is the hard thing. So, in that same vein, is any of the DC stuff that's James Gunn related have any noise outside of Mr. Terrific?
No. DC, oh man, I would not speculate with anything with DC right now, especially after Black Adam, because I have no idea how people react to this stuff anymore. You already got the whole stuff with the Marvel zombies. And, the guys who come in, and if it doesn't have Marvel on it, it doesn't really exist. So, everything else is trash. But then that also transitioned over to the films and, stuff with the TV. So it's really hard for me to gauge because I thought Black Adam was a very solid film. And the response to it was like a lead balloon. It just doesn't, there's something out there that just doesn't connect when it comes to the DC stuff. So you'll get a show like Peacemaker. People say they really liked Peacemaker. They liked it. Did it move any books here and there? Not too much. Mr. Terrific is already a solid book. You could already do money on that book if you had an ungraded copy or a graded copy. You could definitely do some numbers there. But the whole announcement, Black Adam, you don't really see too much movement overall. Henry Cavill came back as Superman. There's still a ton of Superman books laying around. It's really tough with the DC stuff. Very tough.
So I guess, unless Mars, you had something you want to say?
Yeah, so I'm saying, what about the up and coming, the future of Phase 5 stuff, the X-Men coming up? How do you see that, particularly with the change in the X-Men from the whole new?
Oh, that's X-Men. That's like one of your prime key books. So anybody, right now, I probably shouldn't say this. I have a copy of Giant Size X-Men up for sale. It's up for sale for maybe 3 times the price of what everybody else is asking. Most guys will come over like, oh, you're crazy, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, why would I sell this for less? This is the only copy of this book that I have. The first time I had a copy of this book, I sold it for about $800, and that was considered a lot. It goes for thousands of dollars now. That's number 1 and 2. These guys are going to make their appearance in these movies. Why should I go cheap on this book? But that's the first appearance. The first appearance of the new X-Men, Storm, Colossus, uh, Nightcrawler, those cats. That is a that is one of the biggest keys. That's one of the biggest keys out there. So it doesn't really apply. If the market's up, the market's down. If you want to sell that book for less, you're an idiot. That's just one of the bigger books out there. But the X-Men stuff, like you're saying, yeah, I mean that's something else to remember. That anybody who's throwing out this stuff, like you still got other stuff coming down the pipe. You got the X-Men are still coming down the pipe. I'm very hopeful for the Fantastic Four in terms of them coming down the pipe. But the most movement you've seen in regards to the Fantastic Four has been Doctor Doom. All of his stuff jumped. All of his stuff jumped. I don't know if any of that stuff went down, but the second year Doctor Doom announcement, his first appearance, that Fantastic Four annual #2 with the origin, second appearance, all those books are gone. All of those books are gone. You're never going to get them back at those prices again. So, patience is a big part of it. It's also the mentality of too many comic guys where if they're not getting what they want, then hey, it's best to get the hell out, dump it all, and then but it always comes back. It's not like at no point has this market ever dropped out to the point that it's gone back to books being cover price. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you may speculate on that you didn't get written, that you didn't sell in the time that you wanted. But to be quite frank, their books. This is this book where it's the first appearance of a character whose superpower are based on cocaine. He snorts cocaine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I can't remember the book. It's issue 22 though. He snorts cocaine. He gets his superpowers are based on it. I forget what his code name is, like Blizzard or something of that nature. That book is cyclical. I'll get a copy. I put it up. It doesn't sell tomorrow. It doesn't sell next month, but it always sells. So anytime I see it, I always pick it up. I always get the same money for it. Always. Always at the end of the day. That's the stuff with comics that if you're serious about it, that's the stuff that you have to remember. That at no point, if it's a solid book, at no point does that book go from being worth $20 to $3. Okay, it may fluctuate between 10 and 20, depending on the time period, but it's still a solid book at the end of the day. If that's your approach, you're going to make good money. If that's not your approach, you're in the wrong business.
So, what I was really saying is that what about the new stuff? Being that the new movies are going to be coming out with X-Men and the next couple of phases, will the new X-Men stuff, the whole Powers of X stuff, will that be those
Powers of X?
Are those going up?
If they adapt a character or something like that from the book, but to be honest, most of the new stuff is trash, so nobody's looking for that.
Wait, let's say I want to go stick with that one.
New stuff is trash.
If they do,
the
X-Men and they have Krakoa, will Power of X or House of X, Power of 10, and that Jason Aaron series, will those go up since they both featured Krakoa? Outside of you said you had Giant Size?
Mm-hmm.
I know Krakoa comes in there, that's going to balloon, but will those other two things bloom since they've directly created? I mean, that's the last thing outside of classic X-Men #1 where they utilize Krakoa. Will those other books blow up if they have a Krakoa idea in there, in those movies?
Yes, they will.
That wasn't.
If Krakoa is mentioned to be in that movie, those books are going up. Those books are going to go up a lot more than where they are right now. Will they stay up? Well, Giant Size will. Giant Size will, and the other stuff. Hey, who knows?
So Wolverine and X-Men, that was Jason Aaron's thing. And then we have the House of X. And I got the House of X Power of 10 thing correct. Damn it.
You gotta remember what Giant Size is. Giant Size is also the third appearance of Wolverine. So it has that going for it as well. So it's not just the first appearance of the all new, all different X-Men. It's also the third appearance of Wolverine. So it's just not a book to treat lightly. Yeah, if you're serious about it, it depends where you are. Some guys just like to moan. Other guys, they love Schadenfreude, where the prices went up, they couldn't afford it, now the prices are coming down. Look, it's all going down, it's all going. Oh, I hope it all goes all the way down. Everything's going to be in the quarter bin, but they weren't going to buy this stuff anyway. Okay, if you're serious about it, it's no different than playing the stock market. You've got to know when to get in. You have to know when to sell, which is different than getting out. Okay, and try to put your money into the best possible books that you can afford if you're collecting, or if you're looking, or if you're gonna, looking to sell. Don't go heavy on a speculative book. You don't know what that book is gonna. You don't know what that book is gonna do, and the longer you can wait, the more. And this is with any good investment. The longer you can wait, the better. Usually, the better your return is. I mean, I've bought comics for 100, $200, and it might have taken, in some cases, I think one book might have taken up to 3 years to sell. But when I sold it for triple the price. So if I look at any of that type of stuff, if I was making an investment, how many investments give you a 400% yield over 3 years?
That's true.
So I guess for me, if you can give, I guess in my opinion, if we want to end this, can you give an oddball recommendation for Marvel, a DC one, and a
Right.
independent?
I mean, like a book to buy?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, oh, well,
And it could be a book
ind-
that you have in your possession, because this is what the kayfabe guys do. They put things out there, and then those books go crazy. So it can be a book that you already have in your possession.
I got a lot of books in my possession. Anyway, let me go independent first. Something is killing the children. I would definitely get a copy. That is a good investment book, good
What's that
speculative
book
book.
again?
Something is killing the children.
What from where? What company is that from?
If I remember correctly, that's Boom Studios.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, something is killing the children. Consistently. That is sold consistently well. You know, it had the whole thing when it comes out and got a big splash with the first issue and variant covers, and people paid a whole bunch of. They love to spec on indie books because they always believe that indie books are going to be turned into TV shows or what have you, and a lot of times they do. So they guys love speculating on that type of stuff. But this is still sold similar to Ice Cream Man. This is sold consistently well despite that initial rush that people came with, as opposed to something feel like Animal Castle, which came out, everybody bought all the variants, and I have no idea if that book is even up to issue 6 now. So this is, I think that's a good book. That's definitely a good book right there. Go Marvel next. Good book for Marvel. Well, if you want to go with the lowest hanging fruit, go with the first appearance of Riri Williams. That's still a book that you can. That's still a book you might be able to find in a dollar bin, to be quite honest. But I think make we'll actually get a turning point when we get to the Ironheart series, and I think they're going to treat that one differently than the series that we saw previous. It's not going to be her taking over for Tony Stark. It's not going. Hopefully, they avoid all the stuff that I said before. They're not going to make any of these dumb quips. Trying to pit men against women. But that show's coming down the pike, and if you can get the right books right now cheaply, her first appearance, her second appearance, those books are probably going to be out of reach. But there's a whole bunch of stuff with just cool covers with her on it, or some of the Scotty Young covers from her first series, Ironheart. Those are good speculative. I think those are pretty good speculative books for Marvel. And now the hardest one, DC Comics. Well, let's see. Hey, I know, Batman. There you go. There you go. If it's got a bat on it, buy it. No, let me be serious. Hmm. Good stuff. Good spec book. Oh, Green Lantern.
Which one?
Huh. Well, the best one to have right now would be Green Lantern 87, first appearance of John Stewart.
Okay.
That would be a good one to have right now, because John Stewart is the guy they decided to tap to be Green Lantern. But, and I really shouldn't do this, as I don't like helping. I really just don't enjoy helping guys buy comics anymore. I think you really need to get out there and earn it. if you can't get Green Lantern 87, which you're going to pay about $500 for, even in mid-grade condition, go for Justice League of America 110. And remember, you heard it here first.
That have John Stewart in it?
That is actually the second appearance of John Stewart. Okay, go for Justice League of America 110. There's some other stuff that you can go for. His first appearance when he becomes Green Lantern. There might be an origin story here and there. Comic collectors tend to treat comics like they're baseball cards. So if you can't get his rookie card, hey, get his second rookie card. And his second rookie card would be Justice League of America 110. Not an easy book to get your hands on, but it's also a book most people have no idea. They have no idea that this is his second appearance. So you might be able to get it for, you might be able to get a nice copy for a relatively cheap price, like 10, 20 bucks. That's definitely a good book to speculate on. Because, I wouldn't even call that speculation. That's just a good investment right there.
I guess I'm done with my questions. I have an extraneous thing I wanted to say, but it's not related. So, Mars, anything on your end?
Any non-DC things? Like Image. I know you gave a boom one with Tinian, but anybody else?
For Image?
Image, yeah.
Invincible.
Oh, okay.
That's all I would understand.
Invincible, without a doubt. Invincible. I've got a book. Well, it was funny. I was selling a copy of Invincible, and the guy was trying to haggle. He pulled out his phone and he's looking at the prices, what it goes for online. I'm like, well, you came to an in-person show to show me the online price. I was like, dude, if you're here in person, if you like the online price, buy the online price. They all want it. But they're trying to get it for whatever. I said, look, this is the price it's going for. It's not going for anything less. I said, when the show comes back out, all of a sudden there'll be all this interest in it. I said, and I get it. A lot of the guys come out, market softer. They're like, well, if I come out the market soft, I should be able to get it for the price that I want. These guys should be desperate. And some of them are, but not my table. So, I know the value on the book. It's not going to, and that's a rare, Invincible number one is a rare book. That was a rare book when it came out. It wasn't heavily printed. It's not easy to find. So there's no reason to go cheap on it based on the reaction that people had to the first series. So you put it up there for a good solid price. Don't go cheap on it. And hopefully the other thing is if you spent a lot of money on it, then yes, I can see where you're like, look, I gotta make my money back on this. I gotta make my money back on this. And hopefully you do. But the rule is that you really shouldn't put more into it than you can afford to lose on it. So, all you guys out there, okay, take advantage of the great summer. Take advantage of the great sell-off of 2022. That's going to go on for a little bit. That'll go on for a little bit longer, and then eventually these guys will realize, what if I can't keep feeding this beast. And if I keep lowering it, they're just going to want it lower. I can't make any money on this type of stuff. Everybody's going to get a little bit of what they want, and then next year, roll up your sleeves and get ready to rumble again, because guys will be trying to make that money back that they lost on you last year.
Got it. Well, hey, if you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, spin a rack.
Out.
Out.